allowed us to represent veterans earlier in the process. So at Berry Law, we represent veterans nationwide. We've represented tens of thousands of veterans over the past couple of decades. We've gotten them about $500 million in back pay award over those. It's now been over 25 years that we've been doing it.
Welcome to Business Ninjas, brought to you by WriteForMe, where you'll hear from business leaders who are out there growing their business and slaying it every day. Learn from the masters. Let's get started.
Hi, and welcome to another episode of Business Ninjas. I'm here today with John Berry, CEO of Berry Law Firm. John, how are you doing today?
Great, Andrew. Thanks so much for having me. How are you doing?
It is my distinct pleasure. I am well, thank you. Appreciate you spending some time with us here on Business Ninjas. Please tell us a little bit about yourself and about Berry Law Firm.
Well, probably the important story is the firm. My father is a Vietnam veteran. He wrote a book about his service called Those Gallant Men on Trial in Vietnam. Those Gallant Men comes from the song about the Special Forces. And so I don't know if you remember the song from the 70s, but it talks about the Green Berets, right? And so the Ballad of the Green Berets. And so Those Gallant Men is one of the lines that comes from that. And so in Vietnam, my father defended several members of the Special Forces in a murder case where the CIA told them to kill a double agent. And when they did their after-action report, they were charged with murder. So my father successfully defended them, came back to the United States and started helping veterans with back in those days, lawyers were general practitioners for the most part. And so he was doing murder cases, personal injury cases, and there was a whole group of veterans that he was helping, whether it was divorces or DUIs or assaults. And you realize this is all coming back to something that back then we called shell shock. Now we know it as post-traumatic stress. And so he was helping them. He was doing a lot of work to get them benefits pro bono, because there was a Civil War era statute that said you can't charge a veteran more than $10 to represent them in front of the VA. So he did a lot of that work, and eventually there were some changes there was a court established in DC, a veterans court. My dad started practicing there in the late 90s, and then we did a lot of pro bono work. Then the law changed in 2007. It was, I think, promulgated in 2008. That allowed us, the rules were promulgated in 2008, that allowed us to represent veterans earlier in the process. So at Berry Law, we represent veterans nationwide. We've represented tens of thousands of veterans over the past couple of decades. We've gotten them about $500 million in back pay award over those. It's now been over 25 years that we've been doing it. But my father started the firm in 1965. Now, fast forward to me. I grew up wanting to play football in college, maybe be a lawyer. And I grew up in Nebraska. I was not good enough to play for the Huskers in the 90s, where they won their 3 national championships. I instead went to the College of William and Mary, where I wasn't good enough to play there either. I had some injuries, and I knew that I did not want to go right to law school. I wanted a challenge, and my whole college career, I am trying to gain weight and get bigger. I saw this thing about Army Rangers, and I'm like, wow, can you imagine not eating, not sleeping, and losing 30, 40 pounds over 2 months, and pushing your body to the limits, jumping out of airplanes? I thought, yeah, that's what I'll do first before I go to law school. So I ended up going to the military and got out, went to law school, stayed in the National Guard to pay for my some of my law school. Then I deployed as a company commander to Iraq. That was my second deployment. My first deployment was to Bosnia, and I ended up doing 20 years in the reserve component after that with 2 deployments. I retired a lieutenant colonel. And my last job, I ran the officer and warrant officer candidate school. I was a battalion commander. Very fulfilling job, and it has helped me quite a bit run my organization here, where I had to lead remotely. I had teams in all parts of the state, and I was only working 2 weekends a month, and I had a busy law practice. And I was able to run a team, and I really learned how to lead remotely. And now that we have 3 offices and attorneys in 6 different states, all that became very useful for me. So that's my story, learning from the military, learning from my father. And here I am today, trying to make this work.
Well, for starters, I thank you and your father for your service and your continued service, right? You were you are secondarily still serving by serving military people who are in need of your help. Is your practice specific to defending military clients in particular? Is that exclusive, or do you have a broader scope of engagement?
No. And so, with the veterans law, I love representing America's heroes. I mean, they are the best clients. They know how to listen. They know how to get stuff done. They understand that sometimes things take a while, so that they understand the hurry up and wait concept. And so it's great. But that's a national practice, but it is an administrative practice. You don't get to have a jury trial in veterans law. It's administrative law. And yes, there is the Court of Appeals for Veterans Claims has oral arguments, but oral arguments are based on a record and medical records and service records and documents. But it's not the same. It's not the competitiveness that you feel in the courtroom. And so we do personal injury and criminal defense in Nebraska and Iowa right now. And it's great. It's a totally different type of lawyer. It's a totally different type of personality. We have brilliant lawyers who argue the veterans cases, who write well. I mean, they're just phenomenal writers. And then we get the courtroom lawyers who can go in there and make great oral arguments, connect with juries, and they really love the competitiveness of the courtroom. So it's a different beast, but we like doing both of them. And I think that I've seen some bleed over too, where the due process stuff we do on the trial side really helps us on the veteran side of things. And so we share a lot of our content. We'll share, hey, this brief that we're arguing at the Nebraska Supreme Court, or this federal criminal or civil case, hey, here's a due process issue. Maybe we can make that argument over on the VA side, because we're seeing some due process issues on the administrative law side that we think should apply here. So there's a lot of crosstalk, and it's really fun, I think, to not be pigeonholed into one practice area.
Sure. Now, obviously, your personal and your father's expertise and history of the military provides you a leg up in terms of being in a military courtroom. What are the other differentiators? What else makes the Berry Law Firm stand out from its competition?
Our people are better. We hire mostly veterans. And so most law firms, if you look at them, the law firm model is a mess, because it's a partnership model that is, you have a lot of partners with equal say. And, I had the good fortune of going in the military as an officer before transitioning to law school. And so I had friends that went straight to law school. And, they told me the kind of the horror stories of once they became partners, they'd all sit around for 6 months discussing what color the carpet was going to be. And there was this lack of decisiveness, right? In the military, leadership is about getting results, right? I mean, there are standards. If you don't meet the standards, you don't advance. And so I think that one of the problems when you talk about law firms in general, one of the problems is there's this partnership model where you have to vote on everything. And look, groupthink can be a problem. Groupthink can be great. You want diversity of opinions, but the reality is you don't get stuff done. And so about half of our C-suite right now is military staff. So my chief operating officer was a platoon leader in Afghanistan, a company commander in Iraq. My general counsel was a Marine infantry guy who later became a lawyer. My former CTO was also an Army Ranger. And so we come down, and the staff makes the decision most of the time, but if they can't come to a consensus, the commander makes a decision. So we make, some law firms will make maybe a decision a month. Look, we make 10 decisions a week. And I may make some really bad decisions, but it's not so much what you decide, but that you decide that moves the ball forward. And that has really been the difference. Our people understand that. With the military background, we understand being decisive, taking action. We violently execute everything. And if we fall on our face, failure is okay, so long as we live to fight another day.
Yeah, failure is an educational process. I can see that, in a multi-partner situation, the chain of command becomes kind of horizontal, which doesn't move things ahead very quickly, does it?
No, and there's a lot more politicking, right, to get people on your side. And look, our meetings get pretty bloody. If you want to go into a meeting, you fight for your position, but as soon as you walk out of the meeting, we are aligned and we're in unison. And so even though we may not agree, and I see this in other firms where the partners are talking trash about the other partners, and it seems like a game of politics, and we don't want that. Look, come to the meeting and fight for your position, fight hard, and if you lose, you accept it. And I experienced that in the military. We had this, I remember in Bosnia in '99, we had this, we're on this crappy mission. And, and I was thinking the whole time I'm fighting, I'm talking to the commander, I'm like, hey, I don't know we're the right platoon to run this mission. And, but I walked out of there and told my platoon, this is the greatest mission ever. We're going to do this, because if I tell my platoon, hey, this mission's going to suck, we're going to be, outside the wire for 72 hours. It's cold outside. This is a peacekeeping mission. People will be throwing rocks at us. We can't shoot back because it's peacekeeping. And it's going to really, this is going to be, I'm putting you in harm's way. And you got to understand that pulling a trigger without going through, there are certain rules of engagement. Without the rules of engagement, is going to land us in big trouble. So yeah, this is not a great mission, but I had to sell it to the team. No, this is the order. This is a great mission. This is a challenge, and we're gonna do a great job. As opposed to, yeah, this sucks. I don't want to do this, guys. I'm really sorry. We drew the short straw. That's not leadership. Leadership is understanding that there's a mission to be done, and then enthusiastically engaging your team so that they will accomplish the mission to the standard set.
Absolutely, absolutely. Now, tell me about the sort of challenges, the common challenges you're solving for your clients. What sort of situations are you in most of the time?
Well, I mean, on the, the veteran side, it's the complexity is, in gathering evidence and making the appellate arguments. A lot of veterans will file claims, and there's a lot of like these claims coaches groups out there, but they're not lawyers. And so what inevitably happens is the claims are filed, and the veteran has not been educated through whomever they helped them, or if they did themselves, on what evidence they needed and the law that supports their claim. And so they file something, it goes to the VA. And look, the VA is overburdened with claims. And part of it is nobody thought OIF and OEF was going to last, 20 plus years, right? So, I mean, you look at, where that went from, 2001 to 2021, and you think, wow, that was a long, long time. But the point is, so what inevitably happens is the veterans file the claims and they're waiting. And some regional offices will get the claims processed in 6 months. And some of them, if they don't do it right, they could be waiting years before they hear back from the VA. And then we have to file an appeal that's going to take years. Meanwhile, they may be facing homelessness, bankruptcy, a divorce, because benefits can also provide medical benefits as well once you get the disability benefits. So for them, there's a lot of real suffering and financial hardship that's a challenge for them. On our criminal side, people that are falsely accused of crimes, horrific crimes, they lose their job. And as you can imagine, you lose your job, you lose your income, you lose your friends. That's horrible. People that are horribly injured in car accidents or truck accidents, and the insurance companies aren't paying them. And they're wondering, how am I going to pay my medical bills? How am I going to take care of my family? How am I going to get healthy? So our clients have huge challenges. And one of the advantages to having a military background is we're used to that burden, right? When I was a commander, I was charged with, you will protect America's sons and daughters overseas and bring them home and complete this mission and represent the United States of America. And I think that, so because we have, right now we're about a little over 30% of our 120 employees are veterans. And so, it's part of that culture. It's like, look, this is a heavy burden. When someone comes to Barry Law and says, I have a legal problem, our job is to help them. And our job is to help them in a way that, we push with everything we have. We don't hold anything back. And, the clients appreciate, we go all in. We don't always win, and when we don't, the clients appreciate that we, went the extra mile. And look, lawyers love to, all these lawyers who, who've never been in a fist fight in their lives. Oh, we'll fight for you. We'll go to the mat for you. We'll do this. And they love to talk about how much they fight. But the reality is this, they don't know anything about fighting. More importantly, the clients don't want to fight. They just want to win. They don't want to fight. They don't want to battle. They've been through enough. They just need someone who will walk them through the process, shoulder to shoulder. And if a fight happens, that lawyer is ready for it.
Well, I just spent the last 19 years living within a mile as a crow flies from a VA in West Los Angeles. And I could tell you exactly when they cycled people through their system, because our park and the streets were full of people with the sort of problems you describe who needed the sort of help that you provide. So I thank you for that service, truly. Tell me about the COVID years. Tell me about the challenges and opportunities in terms of growing Barry Law Firm through COVID.
So COVID was like everybody else. there's a lot of fear in dealing with that, but we absolutely crushed it through COVID. And there were, there were a lot of factors that played into that. Number one was our military background. Look, in the military, it's pretty simple. We get sent into harm's way all the time. What do? They give us all these shots right before we deploy, right? All of our vaccinations, like, oh, COVID vaccination. Oh my, I got to get a shot. Let me tell you something, right? I had anthrax. I had all these shots. Like I had a shot record like this long. And God forbid you lose that shot record. This is paper. You got to get them all over again. So you get your shots. You have your protective gear, which includes a protective mask, a gas mask. You go into harm's way, and you accomplish the mission. And that's it. And so we had a lot of politicians cowering and afraid to make decisions. And there were people that were really at risk that needed to be taken care of, that needed to be protected. And we saw the medical system faltering and our clients were worried and we wanted to protect everybody. So what we did was we said, okay, we had a plan to go remote, but it was supposed to be 6 months down the road. So my CTO comes into my office one day. It's like, John, I need $100,000. I need it today. And I think, what do you mean? Well, this COVID thing is going to blow up. It's real. And so we got to be able to get everybody out of here. So we launched the plan. He's like, if you don't order all this equipment now, supply chains are going to dry up. You're not going to be able to get the equipment. He's like, I got to order the programs. We got to do this. It's going to be more expensive. But if you wait, it's going to be even more expensive and you might not even get it. So it was around Easter, I remember. And, the leadership team went door to door. We had these great, can you hand me that backpack? We had these great North Face Berry Law backpacks that we sent to our team. Look just like this. As a trial lawyer, I love the visual aids, but we had them stacked, a backpack, the charging cord, everything they needed. We even we brought them toilet paper. We brought, Easter candy. We brought everything they needed for to go remote. And it was, we put it on social media, but it was great. And it's weird though, like walking to my employees' front doors, right, with like the gloves and the mask, and answer the door with the mask, and it was, and then you go to the next one and the next one, but they were all so happy to see us. And so we had to protect our team, but it's, in the military, it's mission first people always. So that helped us. The other thing was, I'm not a big fan of when the politicians get involved with the VA because they usually mess it up. But the other thing that really helped us was in 2019, there was a initiative that President Trump had that was called the Appeals Modernization Act, AMA. And so they're going to fix appeals going forward. But here's where they really it was an issue. They didn't take care of the legacy claims. Like, well, okay, what's going to happen with all the old claims that veterans have been waiting for 5 years? So in order to kind of clean that up, Trump put out a mandate that basically said, look, like by July, I think it was July 4th of 2020, every legacy claim will get a first look. So all of a sudden we had these clients that had been waiting for, 5, 6, 7, 8 years on cases, and they started getting paid. And the VA was ready to go remote. So, a lot of the VA lawyers, a lot of their teams had been working remote prior to COVID. So it wasn't a big change. And so what we saw during COVID was our clients were getting paid. And they were, as you can imagine, it's one thing to get a great, like a lot of these clients are getting 6-figure back pay. It's one thing to be waiting years and then get a, $200,000-$300,000. It's quite another thing when you're shut in, locked down, you're worried about the financial security of the country and your family, and you get a huge check. So then we got a ton of referrals, online reviews, happy clients. And of course, we take all of our veterans cases on a contingency basis, which means we don't get paid unless the client wins. So then that got us paid. And so we, like I said, financially, we saw a slowdown in our personal injury cases because the courts were kind of closed. On the criminal side, there was a little bit of, we saw, there are less arrests, less crimes being committed, and the courts were semi-closed. And so we saw the slowdown, but on the VA side, it really ramped up. So having a team that wanted to be there, wanted to accomplish the mission, and more importantly, one of our biggest challenges, we get calls frequently from veterans who are giving up, right? We get calls about veterans who are contemplating suicide, right? So now all of a sudden for us, it's like, well, this is our battle cry. How do we can't shut down. They need us. Our clients need us now more than ever. And so we really had to, dive in and say, our client service is going to be even better. And so that really gave us, I think it was a great battle cry to hey, this is about serving our clients, and it's about putting the client first. And, Barry Law, we will take care of our team members. We will take care of you. We'll give you all the assets you need, but we're going to complete this mission. And the crazy thing was, people were like, hey, when can we come back to the office? When can I see my friends? When can I? So it was, so we found that some people were phenomenal remote workers, are really good writers. Some people, we told them, hey, don't ever come back to the office. Your productivity is through the roof. Like whatever you're doing, don't stop. Then we had other people that their productivity just tanked. They couldn't work remotely. So it was interesting, but I attribute our success, like I said, part of it was luck with just the secondary effects of the AMA and the government trying to figure out what they're going to do with these legacy claims, and it was very fortuitous, and the timing was great. But also our team's mission first and client centered. Once again, I don't know if you know who Dan Sullivan is, but he always says, "Who do you want to be a hero to?" You get and later in life you get to choose who you want to be a hero to. We want to be a hero to our veterans, and so that was a great opportunity for us to serve our clients. And it was it was paramount to our growth. This year, actually today, I think it was announced, we hit the Inc. 5000 list 7 years in a row. So COVID did not stop our growth. We continued.
Well, hey, your agility and ability to pivot, which is an important word when something as unforeseen as COVID comes up. Again, you're a mission-driven guy. You understand that whatever is right in front of you has to be addressed, and 1 + 1 does not equal 2 in that pathway. Again, you have to be agile in the marketplace in 2023 to continue to thrive. Congratulations on making that list again.
Thank you.
It's 2023. We have to tell our story so that people know about your expertise and your experience and why they should be trusting you with their cases. What role has content played in the growth of Berry Law Firm?
Wow. Well, it's been extremely important. Whether it has been video content or written content, content is king. And as we look at the digital age, I think one thing I realized, and I think this is the magic formula. Look, until you hit 8 figures, content is your only way to get there. Once you hit 8 figures, then you want to start to mix in some traditional, because it's great with all like TVs, billboards, stuff like that we do. People recognize us, right, in the community, and they're, oh yeah, but that you don't necessarily get from the digital platforms. But I would say until you hit that $10 million mark, branding is absolutely worthless. You need to have content. And I really love, there's HubSpot, and there was somebody else who sold like swimming pools, and he wrote a book called They Ask, You Answer. But it's really about, now the consumer can learn everything they want to learn on the internet and by searching. And if you can provide the answer, great. They don't want to talk on the phone to somebody. They want to go get online and find the answers. And so if you can provide, whether it's a video or better written content, as you know, getting good written content is hard. And that's been the bane of my existence working with, this is why I'm talking to you, because you have a great content company. I have worked with content companies that have done horrible work. And as a lawyer, we have ethical requirements. We can't put out, untrue, misleading content. I've had backlash from, I'll just give you the horror story. We had one company that wrote content. It was horrible. It was negatively slanted. It was totally off-brand. It didn't serve us. And we revised it, and then they published the original version. Ooh. And a year later, someone in DC saw it, sent it to a group of people, and I got hate mail from everyone. And of course, in today's world, back in my day, and I'm almost 49, but it was, hey, if someone did something, you'd call them and say, hey man, I got a problem. No, someone just posted on social media and they share it and they try to share. And it was like, look, and finally the saving grace was, a lawyer was on social media, looked at this and says, this is so poorly written. There's no way a lawyer wrote this. And so it was, and then other people kind of chimed in and said, yeah, this is correct. And then and then that gave me a chance to jump on there and say, yeah, I failed. I own it. But this was, this is one of the jeopardies of not having a good content team. So while content can seriously help you, and I have gotten huge cases because of the content that we've done, the written content, because it establishes us as an authority. There's also, if you don't have the right team, you can get hammered and it can destroy your reputation. And so content, it's not just about getting a bunch of stuff out there. It's about getting a bunch of high quality, high value, accurate information to the consumer so that by the time they call you, they're ready to buy. Like, look, for lawyers, we can't cold call. We can't just pick up the phone and start calling people. Other businesses, guess what? Cold calling doesn't work anymore. Why? Because the consumer can Google the information get it themselves, and they reach out to you. And if you arm them with the content that answers all the questions that they want to know, by the time they pick up the phone, they're already pre-sold and they want to do business with you.
You are speaking my language, sir. You got to engage and educate people. People do lots of research before they decide who to business with. And your content is that missing fiber, and it has to be accurate, and it has to educate people. So, yes, it's true. You do know a guy with a good content company. I'm just saying. So please tell us what your URL is, where people can find Barry Law, and what social media outlets you're using these days as well.
Sure. So yeah, let me just, I may be a little bit persnickety about content, but hey, I was an English major at William and Mary. I got the Cali Award, the highest advanced legal writing grade in law school. So even though I don't have time to do a lot of writing these days, I know what good writing looks like. And when I see bad content, like when someone hands me, I don't care whether it's a lawyer that hands me a brief or like a copy for marketing, and it's bad, like I see red, like I have like a physical, visceral reaction. I'm like, this is crap. And then I see something that's good, and it just like makes my day, right? Clear, concise, crisp writing. Oh, I mean, there's nothing better, right? But I see crap, and it just, it really like bothers me. Like,
No,
you know, I have a physical reaction to it, but you know, maybe that speaks more about me than the content. But anyway, as far as, yeah, so our URL, so for veterans, our URL is ptsdlawyers.com. So it's in like post-traumatic stress disorder, ptsdlawyers.com. Our other site is barrylaw.com, just like the shirt, barrylaw.com, BERY. And that well, it has some of our veteran stuff. It's more geared toward our trial practice, the personal injury and the criminal defense in Nebraska and Iowa, but it also has some of our national veterans law stuff. You know, I found in social media, you know, Facebook is still king with the veteran community, just because the veteran community, you have Vietnam veterans that are on Facebook all the way through OEF veterans. So Facebook is still huge. You know, our Barry Law Facebook, I think we're gonna have to make some changes now. This is interesting. As a business grows, as we scale, we figured out that the Barry Law for veterans side, the PTSD, needs to be different than the Barry Law for our trial side, because the content has to be different, right? The content that speaks to the veteran community is different than the content that may speak to the legal community. Because for our, you know, for a lot of the stuff we want to do on Facebook, we're showing you know, bar events, because we want referrals from other lawyers, right? So we want to establish our relevancy, and if people publish you know, an article in a legal journal, we want it there. But if it's not veteran related, our veterans really don't care about it. And we also got a bunch of blowback. I'll just tell you, we got a bunch of blowback because we were attending all these events that were related to business and law, and they were like galas and the barrister's ball, which is like prom for lawyers. And we got a lot of blowback from our veteran clients going, I'm waiting 3 years for my case, and you're out, you know, partying. But the reality is, you know, we do everything we can to move the cases forward, but there's only so much control we have over how fast the VA moves. But that being said, that wasn't really good. But we have TikTok, you know, where it's a different demographic, but it's the younger military demographic is on TikTok. Instagram, LinkedIn is much more professional. The military really likes LinkedIn, so we use LinkedIn, Instagram. Those are the big ones. I, you know, have not been as involved in Twitter. I just, you know, because I can't keep up with it. I don't keep any social media on my phone. That's, you know, some people, my wife has no email on her phone, but she's on social media. I have no social media. Well, as a lawyer, she's very guarded with her time. So, you know, as far as those things go, you know, we're on Barry Law there are lots of Barry Laws, which, you know, I think a good tip. I had to buy over the last couple of years, barrylaw.com, barrylawfirm.com. You know, if you can buy the URL that applies to your business in many different, do it. Don't wait, because I had to pay quite a bit to get those URLs later. So I think that people being able to find you. But, you know, the other thing, bring up content, right? The content that you post on LinkedIn needs to be good, high quality content. You know, the content that you post on Facebook, should be good content. Twitter, it's, you know, whatever you're thinking. And then Instagram is a picture, and TikTok is a short video. But I would say that all that content matters. if you can develop good content in your social media, good, engaging, concise content, you can develop an organic following that can save you a ton of money marketing. So content, not only on the website. Now, once again, if I have one place to put it, I put it on the website, but you can take it from the website and put it on your social media. So you can reuse or recycle the content. Now, look, I am not the dude who wants to recycle the bottle, the plastic bottle, whatever. I see recycling as the one thing we have to recycle, which is our effort, because we don't get our time back, right? So I really believe in recycling that content. The content can become so valuable if you know how to recycle it. Even, I'll just give you an example, like a YouTube, this is our waterfall, right? So we will write a blog, or we'll pay someone like you to write us a blog. Then guess what I do? I've got a teleprompter. I'll turn that into a video. And then that video will be long form. I'll put it on YouTube. Then I'll shorten it to a couple minutes or less, put it on Facebook. Then I'll shorten it to 14 seconds or 7 seconds. I'll put it on Instagram, a little short Twitter video if I can, TikTok video. But the whole point is, if I get someone like you, Andrew, who can give me the great content, then I can recycle it and make so much more out of that, of your mental energy and my mental energy, which will never get back. Like I said, I mean, I understand, like, people want to, I grew up recycling cans, recycling, but recycle. But I'm like, you know what, like, man, like, I think we got this down. The recycling up here is where we're failing. And so, like I said, I got some gray hair like you. And so I really, anytime I create any content, it's how many mediums can I post this on? So if I have to pay you, and I don't know, let's just say that I pay you $2,500 to write this spectacular blog for me. And it's just, you blow it out of the water. That one blog, I can put across 7 different channels. And if you kill it for me, that blog may be worth $1 million in sales to me.
I may have to put a disclaimer on this video that I did not write a script for the last 2 minutes of what you had to say, because you are speaking my language across the board, sir, and I appreciate it.
Well, I haven't been able to execute on this as well as I want to. And this is why I'm very fascinated with you and your company, because this is like this is the future. Content, credibility. Why are they going to hire me as opposed to someone else? Right. And part of it is, look, I got the energy here, right? But most people don't know I'm a good writer. I write well. And it took me a long time to do that. And it's a skill that I've developed. But think about this. Think about how people judge you, right? I mean, people, if they see your written content and it's crap, they think you're crap, period. So I am, look, I am obsessive about content. It is, it has been a struggle to get quality content. So I just believe that it's the future of your marketing and sales, but it is also, if you don't protect your content, you are not protecting your brand, and you as a leader of your organization are an absolute failure when that happens. Because I've been there. I failed. So forgive the long, luckily you can edit this, but forgive the long impassioned speech. But I just believe that content is so important. I mean, throughout history, right? What are our greatest treasures? It's the stories, the content, the historical content. That is where the richness of our lives, our history come from. It's all there. And if we don't capture it and build on it, then, what are we doing? How are we serving the next generation if we're not creating that content? So I am very passionate about content. You don't want to see me on a bad content day. Let's just put it that way.
John Berry, CEO of Berry Law Firm. I repeat, thank you for your service, both back in the day and continuously. I truly appreciate it. There are a lot of people who need your help, and no one is going to deny that you have the energy to get the job done. So I thank you for spending some time with us here on Business Ninjas. I wish you and yours and the Berry Law Firm all the best in the future.
Thanks so much for having me.
My distinct pleasure.